morning, and welcome to the annual MLK celebration hosted by the City of Chaska Human Rights Commission. My name is Libby Fairchild, and I served on the commission for 8 years and was the chair for 7. In 2018, I received the award. Why did I greet you the way I did? I took my ancestry test, DNA test, several years ago. I thought I was half German. I'm only 36%. Guten Tag. I knew I was a quarter Ho-Chunk, which is one of the 500 plus federally recognized tribes, 25%, which I knew. I am English, 25%. The other 14 surprised me, 14%, because I always said I never had any Scandinavian blood. Well, I have about 8 drops, because I'm 8% Norwegian and Swedish, and then the rest is Russian. I only say this because we celebrate each other's backgrounds, where we came from, who we are now. This is our 5th year holding this wonderful event, and it's so nice to have you all here today. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the land we call home. Minnesota is from the Dakota name, meaning the land from where the waters reflect the clouds, and Chaska means firstborn son. Just so you know, in Ho-Chunk, that word is Hunu. I'm just doing a little teaching while I can to show you that every tribe is just a little bit different. We recognize the Anishinaabe, Dakota, Ho-Chunk, and other indigenous communities where cultural, spiritual, and economic practice are intrinsically woven into the landscape and who hold this land sacred. Now I'm going to introduce the elected officials. We have from the county, Commissioner Matt Uderman. Matt, do you want to stand up? Everybody stand up as I call their names. From the city, Taylor Hubbard and Mike Wong. Did I miss anyone? Okay. From the school board, we have the chair, Jenny Stone, and board member Ellie Krug. Please stand up. The Chaska Human Rights Commission, Chair Sarah Carlson, Vice Chair Celie Hockey, Commissioner Jan Velver, Commissioner Martin Hubbard, Commissioner Hannah Sanderson, Commissioner Oana Zayek, Commissioner Sienna White, and the MLK Celebration Planning Committee members, Jan Velver, Sarah Carlson, Sienna White, Stacy Nelson Kumar, and Anika Merrick. I don't, do we have people from the school board or from the school itself? Except for, of course, our position. Thank you all for being here today. Did I miss someone? Thank you for being here. In 1959, at the March for Integrated Schools, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, "Make a career of humanity, commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a better person of yourself, a greater nation of your community, and a finer world to live in." We have a video? No?
Hello, I'm Sarah Carlson. I'm chair of the Human Rights Commission for the City of Chaska. Dr. King asked us almost 60 years ago to make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle of human rights. You will make a better person of yourself, a greater nation for your country, and a finer world to live in. How do I do that? Rather than ask, how will the world benefit me? I ask myself, how can I help my world? What are my community needs? What do I need to do for those around me right now? How can I be a part of seeking fairness in Chaska? Can I care for my neighbor in the workplace, at the park, at the store? The answer is resoundingly yes, I can. Join me in being a part and participate and engage in the opportunities that exist in our community to make a difference.
Bueno, diariamente yo me comprometo con los derechos humanos a pensar de que tanto yo como mi prójimo o con la persona con la que trabajo o vivo a diario tiene que ser tratada de la mejor manera, sin importar la raza, sin importar el color, sin importar el estatus social. Y mi compromiso es estar acá hoy en día haciendo este video y recordar que no tiene que haber una diferencia, sino que bueno, es una manera de intervenir por mi cultura, por mi sociedad y por la gente con la que tengo alrededor.
Bueno, los derechos todos los tenemos que tener y no es una obligación o regla, es que a todos nos converse tener derechos, no importando religión, sexo, nada de eso. En Chaska se respetan, no hay distinción de color, raza, religión. Creo que es parte de lo que todo ser humano tiene que tener, respetar y ser respetado. Muchas gracias.
I think we are maybe a long way from being perfect, but I think we are getting better and becoming more aware that other people's rights should be respected and more willing to accept various differences in personality and religions and colors, even color of skin, even though it's not perfect, we are getting better.
Right, when I think of equal rights, I think of opportunity and value. And for the opportunity aspect, it's jobs, it's housing, it's being a part of our community, whether that's events or groups or organizations, and making people feel welcome in Chaska and in our community and a part of that community. And then also on the value end of things, it's how I approach people in my everyday life of making sure I give everyone equal value in listening and participating with them and learning and understanding kind of where they come from and how much value they bring just as an individual and as a member of our community.
Creo que es como una responsabilidad como hispano pertenecer a una comunidad y ayudar a tus compatriotas a también tener esa responsabilidad de seguir reglas y ayudar que esas reglas se lleven a cabo y que nos beneficien a todos por igual.
I believe Chaska's commitment to equal rights is when we all, as a community, whether it be government, business, or residents, work together to ensure that everyone in the community feels that they can live, work, and also thrive in the community, no matter their skin color, their economic status, their gender, or their physical or mental abilities, or any other attributes that can be subject to discrimination. When we give acknowledgement, opportunity, and acceptance as a community, we create an inclusive and welcoming environment for everyone where equal rights are upheld. We empower others to do the same, and we create a spark that affects real positive change.
Bueno, el primer compromiso que es, como lo dice la palabra, respetar los derechos humanos de cada persona, como por ejemplo religión, sexo, color, lengua principalmente, es una de las formas que tenemos para respetar los derechos humanos y también someternos a ellos, porque también nosotros tenemos que dar el derecho que tienen otras personas a la humanidad.
I'm 86 years old, and I've lived in the Chaska area for most of my life. And I remember as a kid, I think there was a lot of discrimination among the Indians, among the religions that were around in Chaska. But in the last 50 years, we have become so diversified in religion, in races, in political opinions, that I think we are becoming more and more aware of the differences and the rights that people have because of their differences. I think we are also growing in number then in respecting those rights and those differences among us, and are beginning to change our lives and our policies, our laws to correspond. So I want to promote the idea of us becoming more tolerant of one another and respecting one another as special human beings. That's it.
Bueno, para mí Mi compromiso con los derechos humanos aquí significa respetar los diferentes gustos, a todas las diferentes etnias y nacionalidades que estamos aquí, porque estamos en un país de un gran conglomerado de todos los demás países. Entonces, respetar sus gustos, sus orientaciones, sus decisiones, sus religiones y todas sus creencias. Antes que nada, el respeto.
Hi, what it all means to me is about being nice to people, being friendly, smile, say how are things going, treat everyone the same, treat everyone just how you want to be treated by someone else. That's the way I've always approached everyone I've ever talked to. I've had people come up to me wanting to talk to me about something and they felt bad because they're somewhere, and I said, no, let's talk about it. Tell me your concerns. I might not have an answer, but I'm always going to get back to you and find an answer. And I think that's important. Be able to listen to people, get back to them, smile, realize that they're no different than I am, and they got concerns, and you need to talk to them about their concerns. I think that's the important. But it's always about how you greet people, how you treat people, and how you want to be treated. That's the most important thing about how we want everyone to be treated in this world.
You know, equal rights is kind of can be a complicated issue, but basically, I think we need to treat everybody the same. We have a country now that gradually going to a mixed races between those of color and white. And if we can't treat everybody the same and equally, this country is not going to be able to survive as the great country it is. And I think we just have to decide, if we don't treat people equally, it's going to hurt us all.
Human rights to me means treating people, no matter what they look like, no matter where they come from, as with the knowledge that we're all the same race, the human race.
This quote helped guide this year's event as we consider our own local community of Chaska and our own noble struggles for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We had the chance to ask community members, including some of you from this room, about equal rights. Please listen to what they had to say. We just did that. Many thanks to those who participated, and to Kevin Wright from the City of Chaska Communications Department for getting that wonderful video together and for taking care of the audio and video here today. I would now like to introduce two exceptional students from the Chaska High School Speech team. I'm not going to use their first names. I've asked them to, because their last names are tough for me to pronounce. Adonai, and she will come first. She's in the 10th grade. And then followed by that will be Fatoumata, who's in the 11th grade. And they will be reading an excerpt from Beyond Vietnam delivered by MLK in April of 1967.
Hello, my name is Adonai Yidnekachew. And my name is Sanneh. And we're reading an excerpt from Beyond Vietnam by MLK. We are now faced with the fact, my friends, that tomorrow is today. We're confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such thing as being too late. Procrastination is still the thief of time. Life often leaves us standing bare, naked, and ejected with lost opportunity. The tide in affairs of men does not remain at flood. It ebbs.
We may cry out desperately for time to pause in her passage, but time is adamant to every plea and rushes on. Over the bleached bones and jumbled residues of numerous civilizations are written the pathetic words, too late. There is an invisible book of life that faithfully reports our vigilance or our neglect. Umar Khayyam is right. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on. We must move past indecision to action. If we do not act, we shall surely be dragged down the long, dark, and shameful corridors of time, reserved for those who possess power without compassion, might without morality, and strength without sight.
Now let us begin. Now let us rededicate ourselves to the long and bitter but beautiful struggle for a new world. This is the calling of the sons of God, and our brothers wait eagerly for our response. Shall we say the odds are too great? Shall we tell them the struggle is too hard? Will our message be that the forces of American life militate against arrival as full men, and we send our deepest regrets? Or will there be another message of longing, of hope, of solidarity with their yearnings, of commitment to their cause, whatever the cost? The choice is ours, and though we might prefer it otherwise, we must choose in this crucial moment of human history.
As that noble bard of yesterday, James Russell Lowell, eloquently stated,
"Once to every man and nation comes a moment to decide, in the strife of truth and falsehood, for the good or evil side."
Some great cause, God's new Messiah, offering each the bloom or blight, and the choice goes by forever, twist that darkness and that light.
Though the cause of evil prosper, yet 'tis truth alone is strong, though her portions be the scaffold, and upon the throne be wrong.
Yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim strandeth God, within the shadow, keeping watch above his truth.
And if we only make the right choice, we'll be able to transform this pending cosmic elegy into a creative song of peace. If we will make the right choice, we'll be able to transform the jingling discords of our world into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. If we will but make the right choice, we'll be able to speed up to the day all over America and all over the world, when justice will roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful delivery, both of you. I want to take classes from you because I'm not very good at this. So now we're going to go into welcome classes. I'm going to welcome classical guitarist Matt Vinge from Chaska Music Studios.
I'm going to play a short instrumental tune by guitar player named Chet Atkins. This is an old standard from the 50s. It's an instrumental called Baby's Coming Home.
In addition to his doctoral degree in educational leadership, he holds a Master of Music Education degree with an emphasis in multicultural music from the University of Minnesota. He is a frequent public speaker to share his insights and research surrounding race, literacy, organizational transformation, and anti-racism. Dr. Berry is also an award-winning composer, singer, actor, and percussionist with a repertoire that spans several genres, including R&B, gospel, and roots rock. We are very fortunate to have him here with us today, where he will share his perspectives on finding common humanity even in the midst of great struggles. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Berry to the podium.
Well, thank you. Good morning. Wake up a little bit. Good morning. Thank you, first of all, to the Chaska Human Rights Commission for the invitation to be with you this morning, as well as thank you to all of you for gathering in this place on this day, on this occasion. First, let me say that I ground my talk here today in the spirit of love. The shoulders on which I stand include my parents, Edward and Esther, who survived Jim Crow first in the South and then in the North. Love was the key ingredient instilled in me and my 10 siblings. I got 10 brothers and sisters. It helped to prepare me for the path that I now walk toward the pursuit of freedom and justice. My siblings and I were fortified by love and bolstered by faith. Reverend Dr. King said, love is the key that unlocks the door to ultimate reality. Further, James Baldwin also talked about love. It forces us to take off the mask we know we cannot live within, but fear we cannot live without. So my aim this morning is to speak to historical as well as our local context and offer some ways to reflect on where we stand in regards to King's vision, and consider his legacy and commitment to finding common humanity, even in the midst of great struggle. The noble struggle, as he framed it in that 1959 speech, brings with it the possibility of finding community. Now, struggle in and of itself is not the problem. There have been many freedom fighters throughout the nation's history who have understood that without struggle, there can be little progress. From Frederick Douglass to Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Baker to Reverend Dr. King, struggle was always present, but met with the kind of enduring love necessary to overcome. However, I have come to realize that on this topic, far too often, the opportunity is missed to openly and honestly examine how hard the struggle really is and why there is such a struggle. We go far enough to just touch the edge, but we don't go far enough to actually do something so that we may act to repair the harm caused by systemic and structural racism. I am cognizant of the fact that when I talk about the realities of racialized outcomes caused by systems of oppression, it can trigger discomfort and unease. But I'm here today to also say that that's sometimes how we need to process and experience this phenomenon. I also talk about the idea that truth shall set us free. That's my fundamental belief. So by telling the truth, we can move through that unease. It is easy to miss Dr. King's withering critiques of this nation in favor of his hope-filled aspirations. Now, I'm as hopeful as he was, and as he hoped about what we can truly achieve with an egalitarian society. However, to overcome inequality requires us to have honest individual and collective reflection on whether our aspirations toward equity match our outcomes. Dr. King exemplified the authenticity of the noble struggle in the pursuit of common humanity. In fact, he reached several inflection points during his short life where he contemplated this point. The challenge for us today is that, for the most part, what we learned in schools regarding the civil rights movement was limited to just highlighting the aspirations of equality while de-emphasizing the actual outcomes and reasons behind them. Specific to this point, I want to offer two aspects of how King thought about intentions of a dream versus the reality of Black life in America. His last known published work asked the question, where do we go from here, community or chaos? That was not a random or arbitrary question. He was responding to several reactions to his work, to his leadership, and societal responses to his dream. For example, it was reported that Dr. King and Malcolm X had differing ideas about justice and ways to mobilize people for the cause. After the famous I Have a Dream speech, Malcolm said, while Dr. King is having a dream, the rest of us Negroes are out here having a nightmare. These two leaders, believe it or not, had a profound impact on each other. In this case, Malcolm's critique helped Dr. King read into how important it was to simultaneously make room for inspirational metaphors, visions, and dreams while addressing the harsh realities facing many Black Americans during the 1960s. In other words, it was possible to pursue the hope expressed in the dream and grapple with the nightmare. As a result, Dr. King, who had a mastery of the English language, began to embrace and speak to the key aspects of the Black Power movement. I encourage you to compare his public talks in 1963 and before to his talks in 1967, toward the end of his life. You would see quite a different contrast in what he was saying. In this speech, in 1967, he had a speech called Black is Beautiful. And Dr. King declared in that speech that somebody told a lie. The lie he was referencing that night was about how racialized social construction drove implicit association to render Black people as inferior, sinister, and inhuman. All the synonyms in the dictionary for the word Black are negative and degrading, he explained. But Dr. King proclaimed to the audience that Black is beautiful. I'm Black and proud, he said. This, in my view, is a way to appreciate his pursuit of full humanity. Put another way, he was saying being Black is being human too. A message we can still benefit from hearing today. The other pivotal historical moment in which Dr. King deeply reflected on the concept of community or chaos is indicated in a story shared by his close friend, actor, singer, and fellow civil rights activist, Harry Belafonte. In the weeks before his assassination, Harry Belafonte visited his friend, the Reverend Dr. King. He later shared one of the exchanges he had during that visit. He noted that Dr. King did not look his usual self. His energy was low, and he was not as upbeat as Belafonte was accustomed to. He asked, "Martin, what's wrong?" Martin's response, "Harry, I'm afraid I am integrating our people into a burning building." So let us consider some historical evidence for what led Dr. King to ask the question, community or chaos. In the post-Civil War era, there were immediate and consistent efforts by political leaders, policymakers, and white citizens to thwart racial equality. Chronicled in a book entitled White Rage by historian Carol Anderson, the response to Reconstruction was a series of laws that became known as Black Codes, spurring on the generation of Jim Crow and legalized segregation. When Black communities built any of their own economic base and wealth, their businesses and neighborhoods were burned to the ground and destroyed. Several Black men and women in those communities were lynched, as in the case of Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921 and Rosewood, Florida in 1923. The response to the 1954 Supreme Court decision in Brown v. Board of Education was white citizens refusing to send their kids with Black children in them. There was also an explosion of new private schools coupled with the efforts to defund public education. During Dr. King's life, he experienced Medgar Evers and Malcolm X assassinated. He saw Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, and Carol McNair killed in the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing. So then, The question, community or chaos, seems like something we must also synthesize and come to grips with. I surmise that Reverend Dr. King's question about community or chaos challenges us to define what it means in a greatly racially divided society, and how we come to terms with what it truly would take to have, as he dreamed, a beloved community. What does this mean in our local context? In Minnesota, we have our own history of separate and unequal outcomes. As an educator, I am all too familiar with our state's educational outcome disparities. High school graduation rates and school suspensions and expulsions all show significant differences that negatively disparage Black, Brown, and Indigenous students. Black unemployment in Minnesota is more than double that of white Minnesotans. In fact, it is one of the highest in the nation. The global COVID-19 pandemic revealed more clearly the kind of racial division that has long been ignored in health disparities and life expectancy. To quote Mark Twain, sometimes I call him Samuel Clemens, but he's better known as Mark Twain. History actually doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So in light of our past and present reality, are we closer to being in community or chaos? Thinking about the concept of community, I would like to suggest some possibilities for us to find common humanity, even in the midst of all this chaos. It begins with something Dr. King said repeatedly during his lifetime. We must get the language right. So let's take the word community. It has two root words that combine to form powerful ingredients for the recipe to build a better world. The first word is commune, to converse, reason together. An interchange of thoughts and feelings, usually with profound intimacy and intensity. The second word is unity, the state of being one, the totality of several parts combining to make a unifying whole. The most resonant synonyms to me in the concept of unity are the words solidarity and harmony. W.E.B. Du Bois, upon his return from visiting Africa, said, "I think I have seen the perfect education system. It is when people sit in a circle around a tree." I have discovered that when my purpose has connective tissue with other people in the circle, our collective actions create strength and solidarity. Why is this relevant? Because individuals don't beat institutions. With all the systemic challenges that we face, it is vital for us to be in the circle with fellow educators, students, families, elders, and everyone else who comes and sits around in the circle. To be in community then, in the midst of struggling with the construct of race and racism, it is to seek ways to intimately reason together with an intent of the outcome of solidarity. In order to make a career of humanity, we must make intentional choices. We must see in each other that same divine spark, the bedrock of who we were created to be, and how our connective biological tissue can help us imagine what Mahalia Jackson sang about as a gospel singer, pointing to that New Jerusalem. Your being here today demonstrates the possibility of everyone who decided to gather together for this celebration to take up the cause of freedom by bringing your love brick to help build the community. I want to bring my love brick to build with those who are willing to wade through discontent and chaos to find solidarity in the noble struggle of our common humanity. Let us continue to remember the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by choosing love over fear and community over chaos. As he said in the letter from a Birmingham jail, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Let us live out the true meaning of that word and of that prophecy and continue to build our common humanity together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barry, for words of wisdom and inspiration. I'd like to give you a so much of her time and talents to our local community. Sarah.
Dr. Barrett, honored guests, our musician, don't take the sunshine away from us today. Well, maybe the clouds just, but the sunshine is there, honest. The Human Rights Award was first celebrated in 2011. It provides inspiration for our community to continue to find ways to care for the well-being of our community. The award calls for individuals or organizations who make a special effort to ensure that all Chaska residents have equal opportunities in employment, housing, accommodations, public services, education, and other affairs related to the social well-being of the Chaska community. As we celebrate the life and works of Dr. King today, we also celebrate the people and organizations in our community, Chaska, who have impacted the lives for the better. Dr. King's words encourage us to make a career of humanity, and in doing so, he suggests that you will make a better person for yourself, a greater member of the community, and a finer world to live in. In our community, Chaska, we have many dedicated, I was just thinking about all the people that do so many great things, the many dedicated individuals and organizations that uplift our humanity. Perhaps you know someone who has had their life touched by an organization or an individual in the past. We want to recognize the commitments by the previous human rights winners that are here with us today. And if you are here, I would ask you to stand. Joanna Herbstritt, Guardian Angels Homebound Ministry. The Reverend Gordon Stewart. The Gathering Place, St. John's Lutheran Church. The Blessed Be Thrift Store, Carol Benetti, Sarah Carlson, Sue Mueller, and Garnet Warner. Launch Ministry. Love in the Name of Christ. Miss Libby Fairchild, who you met. Miss Barbara Colhat. Miss Leanne Winters. His House Foundation, Martha Brannon. Girl Scout Troop 1554, members Sydney Beckers, Justine Myers, and Vanessa Fashion. Thank you all for engaging in our community and making a difference. The nominations that were received by the Human Rights Commission clearly spoke to the remarkable ways that encourage hope and improve the lives of Chaska residents. The organization that was chosen as winner of the 2022 Human Rights Award believes in a community who is united and welcoming is one that grows together. Latino Voices has brought their voice, organization, inspiration, connections to equip and serve here in Chaska. I'd ask for you to join us. Now let me tell you a little bit about this organization. The Latino Voices organization has been serving the Chaska community for the past 5 years. The goal of this organization is to assist everyone who needs support to navigate and obtain services from local organizations, businesses, and government agencies. This includes translation services to come alongside and explain programs to individuals who experience English as their second language. Additionally, Latino Voices offers educational and cultural activities to help foster a community that is respectful and engaging. By bringing together various organizations this past year that have included Southern Valley Alliance, the Chaska Police Department, Carter County Sheriff's Office, Humanity Alliance, and Carter County Mental Health, the Latino Voices organization helps bridge the gap and break down barriers that exist in the delivery of services. Are you feeling humble yet? Their volunteers are passionate about making Chaska a community that is welcoming to all, believing that a community that is united will grow. Partnering with the Chaska Parks and Recreation for the Latin Music and Food Festival in September increased awareness and aided in developing cultural appreciation. It was a terrific event that showcased the Latina community here in Chaska. The Day of the Dead Ofrenda, which was co-sponsored by the Chaska Human Rights Commission, brought educational insight to this cultural celebration and recalled the memory of loved ones who have passed. Latino Voices inspires inspiration from diverse backgrounds that Chaska is a community that cares about her residents. By engaging Latino voices, the Chaska History Center now includes oral histories of individuals that have immigrated to Chaska. These stories add to those of other immigrant origins that created Chaska as a community in 1851. Latino Voices most recently partnered with the Chaska History Center in providing translation services at the historic downtown holiday. Chaska welcomes Latino Voices as an organization that has made a special effort to ensure that all Chaska citizens have equal opportunities in employment, housing, public accommodations, public services, education, and other affairs related to the social well-being of our beloved Chaska community. Congratulations to Latino Voices.
Latino Voices started as a dream about 5 years ago. Actually, to be honest, Latino Voices started as a dream about 20 years ago when I entered this country and saw the struggle of our family. And we are committed to partnering up with every single person in this community to make sure that people who are choosing Chaska understand that we are a community that works together, that we are a community that is united, and that we are a community that is here to help and support each other. That is the mission and vision of Chaska, and that is the mission and vision of Latino Voices. We want to thank the community itself for nominating us to start with, but also for putting their trust in us. Working with a community that's so vulnerable, such as immigrants and people of color, we understand that it takes a lot to build trust, and we understand what it is to have that trust in an organization and in an individual. So we deeply thank you for placing your trust in us and allowing us in your lives and in your community to do the hard work that it takes to build this community better. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sarah, and congratulations to Latino Voices. Thank you again for coming today. It takes many partners and supporters to hold this annual event. I would like to thank our sponsors, Dunn Brothers Coffee, Dunkin, Chaska Cubs. Is that right, Sarah? Cubs?
Chaska
Cub, oh, the Cub store, okay. The help, Liaisana with refreshments. Thank you to the Administration, the Human Rights Commission, and the Department of Parks and Recreation. Thank you, Adonai, Fatu, and the Chaska High School Speech team. Thank you to our musician, Vinge. Look under your chair. If you find a piece of paper indicating you are the winner, the book at the center of the table is yours to take home. Many thanks to Kelly Vinge and her family for donating the books for today. Our city commission is still looking for members, including on the Human Rights Commission, I believe. Is that not true, Sarah? So if you have any interest, get with the city, send a letter of recommendation or application, and any sort of special talents you might have with those different departments. And now, okay, come on up.
Well, good morning. My name is Pat Steek. I work with the Carver County Public Health Department, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you for just a minute about our Community of Belongings initiative. This initiative is an integral part of our county's community health improvement plan. And we are working to ensure that everyone feels that they belong in their community, because without that feeling, for them to achieve optimal health is very, very difficult. And as is stated in the bookmarks that hopefully you saw out on the table, and help yourself through those, community of belonging is a place where everyone feels welcomed, safe, significant, regardless of their differences. It's a place where all people are respected, even if they disagree. It's a place where people know each other, care about each other, and take care of each other. And it's a place where everyone works together to create a thriving, vibrant community. And as a result, everyone benefits. So Carver County Public Health is delighted and honored to be working in several communities around the county on this initiative, in Laconia, and Cologne, and Chanhassen, and Victoria, and right here in Chaska. And we're very, very excited about supporting the community's work to create that community of belonging for everyone, both their current residents and those residents that are going to be living here in the future. And now I want to turn it over to Juana to talk a little bit about the group and about the events that they have coming up.
Thanks so much, Pat. Yes, hi everyone. I'm so excited to be presenting this to you. So I represent the Human Rights Commission on this amazing initiative. And I invite all of you. We have, so the trainings that are listed on the sheet that I hope you got when you came in, there are 3 of them. And they all speak to what we listen to today. So MLK talks about beloved communities, and I believe that this initiative here of communities of belonging kind of resonates with that. It's about love and justice and nonviolence and coming together as a community to build a better community where people feel like they belong. So I invite all of you to please join me in doing this training together, and then start the hard work after that. You can attend one of the trainings, or you can attend all 3 or 2. It is completely up to you, but I would love to see as many of you there as possible. So yes, that's pretty much it. So thank you so much, Pat, for this. This is fantastic. Thank you all so much.
I'm going to conclude this program today by saying Dankeschön, Pinakigi, thank you, and have a wonderful day.